There's a DNA storm in court today, and emotions are running high. Elizabeth Johnson and Melinda Davis believed Roger Johnson was their father, but their mother's funeral changed everything. A man approached them, claiming to be their real dad, turning their world upside down.
Ms. Johnson and Mrs. Davis, you are here in court today to finally find out if the defendant is your biological father. You both claim at your mother's funeral a different man approached you and announced he instead.
Roger always had doubts, but raised them anyway, never getting the confirmation he needed. He accepted responsibility despite the whispers and uncertainties that followed him for 25 years. Now, the truth is finally coming out, but there's another twist. Another man is waiting outside, claiming Roger is his father too.
Ms. Johnson, explain to the court what happened at your mother's funeral.
Well, at the time, I haven't seen my mother in 4 years. I was at work, and that's how I found out that my mother had passed away. Now, the day of the funeral, when I had walked in, this guy had walked in behind me.
Elizabeth remembers the funeral like it was yesterday. A complete stranger wrapped his arms around her and called her his beautiful little girl. She turned around, expecting to see a familiar face, but was met with someone she had never seen before in her life. Roger isn't shocked because he has heard too many conflicting stories. Their mother's version of events changed constantly. One day she was sure he was the father. The next day, she doubted it. The inconsistency left Elizabeth and Melinda trapped in years of uncertainty.
You knew this man already?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you grew up knowing this is just a friend of your family?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then he announces he's your father?
Yes, Your Honor. Him and my mother, when she was alive, told me.
Melinda has her own memories that now seem suspicious. She recalls her mother taking her to a car lot, pointing at a man, and saying, "This is her." She was too young to understand. But the pieces are now starting to fit together.
What did you hear specifically?
Actually, she actually told me.
She did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did she say?
You know, she would tell me, you know, I'm unhappy. You're not spending the time with me. Da, da, da. And she would go off and be with these other guys.
Roger pulls out the undeniable proof in the form of divorce papers. Their mother legally gave up all parental rights, making him the only parent who fought for them. The courtroom is stunned as they realize he was the one who stayed despite everything.
Now I know that that could have possibly been one of the guys.
Your Honor, I have
Yes,
proof.
sir.
I have proof of,
You have evidence. Jerome, will you please hand me that evidence? Thank you.
that's my divorce papers.
So this is a final judgment of divorce.
Yes, Your Honor.
As if things weren't painful enough, Roger reveals a heartbreaking truth. He had to pay their mother just so she would allow them to see her. The reality of a father bribing his children's mother for time with them leaves everyone speechless.
And yet you raised these girls as your own,
Yes, Your Honor.
accepted this responsibility.
Yes, Your Honor. The mother, you know, even though the mother told him that the other man was her father and that I wasn't the father, you know, I was there when he was born. I was there 9 months she carried him.
The doubts Roger carried for years now feel heavier than ever. He admits that Elizabeth resembles him, but Melinda does not. The weight of uncertainty has been there all along, and now the moment of truth is finally approaching.
Of Roger Johnson Jr., and as to whether Roger Johnson Sr. is his biological father, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are his father.
Roger Jr. steps into the courtroom, adding another layer of tension. He loves his sisters, but even he can't ignore the difference. His emotions are visible as he struggles with the possibility that Melinda may not be their father's child.
As it pertains to the paternity of Elizabeth Johnson, and as to whether Roger Johnson Sr. is her biological father, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are her father.
As if that wasn't enough, a painful betrayal is exposed. Roger was not invited to Melinda's wedding, and another man was chosen to walk her down the aisle. The realization that he was kept in the dark about such a major event is a gut punch. The truth is finally about to be revealed.
I love her to pieces,
It's okay, sweetie.
but
But
here's some.
You don't see your father.
No, man.
And that hurts you to have to say. I can see that.
It sounds crazy, but what would you do if you saw a girl wearing tight pants? Would you slide into her bed by selling dreams of wedding bells, as the man did in this case? Mr. Wiggins rolled up in court seeking Judge Lake's help to get back his family.
Mr. Wiggins, you are here in court to prove that you are not the father of Ms. Davis's child, Aubrey Wiggins, and say today's results will change your life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you claim that Mr. Wiggins knows he's the father of your child.
Wow. A brief separation gave him the pass to sleep with another woman. It turned out that in no time, he was up to jiggery-pokery with Miss Davis, yet he wanted to free himself from accusations of being a father to a baby girl.
As a result of being alleged the father of Aubrey, I lost my wife and I want to regain my family.
You lost your family? You were married at the time? Explain.
Yes, Your Honor, I was married and me and my wife went through a separation due to a rough patch. Through my separation, I became a little antsy, I guess, for lack of better terms.
Further, the defendant claimed that they had been in a committed relationship for 2 years. The man admitted to manipulating and lying to this young lady for his gain. Yet, blaming her was the reason he lost track of his family. Oh my, what type of man is he?
But you didn't use
We was
protection.
together for almost 2 years and a half.
We was never together.
Almost 2.5 years?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I was
ma'am.
married, Your Honor. I mean,
Yeah, married, but
it just, it kind of went longer than it should have.
But your hope is that if you can prove that Aubrey is not your biological child, that you can convince your ex-wife, the woman, I guess she left because of this situation?
Yes, ma'am.
The next Judge Lake hopped into the pregnancy. It slipped out that Mr. Wiggins' mistress wanted his wife out of his life because she expected to have her whole life with him. So, he put on his deception hat and duped baby mama like this.
right.
Did you think you were in a relationship?
I was. I knew I was in a relationship.
You did?
2.5
We were
years we
not.
was together.
I was telling her what I felt I needed to tell her to ultimately get what I wanted.
Obviously,
in a
you
short
got-
period-
You might have gotten more than you bargained
Right,
for, right?
you did.
However, he asserted that Miss Davis approached his wife on Facebook and disrupted his married life. Oh man, are you out of your mind? I mean, he has no control over his desires. And yet, has the defendant been inoculated for the havoc? That just makes no sense.
So she kind of told people, and then I asked her to let me tell my wife. And of course, because she wanted my wife out of the picture, because she did want more.
You're right. I wanted more because that's what you presented.
And I was good to her, because ultimately I was trying to get something out of her.
Okay, so the next chronicles of Wiggins started. He claimed that the mommy had been busy with another man at the time she conceived the baby because he sent some text messages on her phone. So that's why he was denying paternity.
Miss Davis told her that she was pregnant and that she wasn't going anywhere. She inboxed her on Facebook, which
Right.
caused a lot of havoc in my life.
You wasn't going to be a man.
Did it cause the havoc or did you cause the
He
havoc?
did, because, right.
To prove his sham show right, the alleged father brought an exhibit to the court. He alleged that Miss Davis had fabricated his name on the birth certificate, but how she forged his name was quite interesting. Duh!
We got into a bit of an altercation. I don't remember the exact details. And my family member seen her be picked up by another guy
That was my cousin.
that
I
she
wasn't
claims
camping.
to be her cousin. However, it's a coincidence that while we were at the hotel, she happened to be taking a shower, and I think I was using her tablet for something.
Until now, it was apparent that Mr. Wiggin was a compulsive liar who made sham allegations about baby mama, and he was clowning just to defend himself. Further, it came out that they were still sleeping together, and it ticked Judge Lake. So she articulated the reality like this.
Your Honor, I'm no Einstein or anything, but I'm educated enough to know my own birth date. This is the birth certificate. Apparently she knew my name. This is the birth date that's listed on Aubrey's birth certificate. My birthday is November the 9th, 1990.
The one
this
you wrote.
says 11/11/1990.
And
I
you
didn't
wrote.
write anything. And also in the state of Florida, because I was married, I wasn't just supposed to go on her birth certificate.
Yeah, Judge Lake was right. He was playing on both sides of the fence, yet he contended that he wanted to get back his family. However, their back and forth did not help and made things more complicated. So the last hope to get closure was to reveal the DNA results.
Mr. Wiggins, you are the father.
Ms. Dixon wanted her husband to catch her cheating on him, and now that he has caught her, he is claiming that he is not the father of her child. But conniving Ms. Dixon isn't having it and says that Mr. Hunt, her husband, is her child's father no matter what. Well, Here is how the case starts off.
So, Ms. Dixon, you admit that you've been unfaithful in
In the past.
the
yes.
past.
Yes.
And you own that.
Yes, I do.
So do you understand why Mr. Hunt doubts
Yes,
what you
I
say?
do. I do.
Ms. Dixon said she had cheated on Mr. Hunt because he left her for a month, and then she had orchestrated a scenario where he caught her cheating on him just to get back at him. And of course, Mr. Hunt here did not find that funny at all.
I cheated. He had caught me, actually. Had caught me cheating.
In the act?
In the
Yes.
act, yes.
Yes.
How did you catch her?
Coming home from work, and there's this car in the parking lot. When I approached,
Can I say something? Okay, the reason for me cheating and when I did it, it wasn't.
There is no reason.
It wasn't.
There's
it
no
wasn't.
good-
Okay, it wasn't right.
Wow, she is insane. This is one dangerous woman, and then a couple of months later, she got pregnant. But now, Ms. Dixon is saying that the child definitely belongs to her husband. What are the chances of that being true at all?
You had sex with this guy one time out in front of the house.
Yeah.
Was it protected?
No.
So unprotected sex with this guy one time out in front of your house, but when you get pregnant, do you just tell your husband I'm pregnant, or do you tell the other guy too?
I never told him.
So it was unprotected. Next time you want to let your husband catch you cheating just to make him envious, try to use protection. Then Mr. Hunt drops one of the biggest accusations we have ever seen on paternity court. He thinks his brother could be the father.
So are you insinuating that you believe your brother could be Tanae's biological father?
it's a possibility. Wow.
And you brought a witness.
Yes.
The witness is Ms. Dixon's aunt, and she is even testifying on behalf of Mr. Hunt. And what could her testimony be? Well, before she could even testify, she got into a huge fight with Ms. Dixon.
She never said anything about him, like about
I don't
him
care,
cheating
though. He
or
wasn't there,
anything.
though. So I'm
she
just saying-
let
Hold
that
on,
was there.
Ms. Cooper.
What's your motive?
Explain to the court. Are you saying that you believe that Mr. Hunt's brother could potentially be Tanae's biological father? You believe that Ms. Dixon was being intimate with her husband's brother?
Whoa, for your aunt to betray you like that on TV? That is something that even this court does not see that often. Anyway, Ms. Dixon says that she might have cheated on her husband, but she would never cheat on him with his own brother. At least she has some morals, eh?
There's also been testimony that indicates that you potentially could have gotten into a sexual relationship with Ms. Dixon and could be Tanae's biological father. Do you believe you are Tanae's biological father?
No, ma'am.
Well, we have to take him at his word. It is time to see the results and put this case to rest. Is this Mr. Hunt's child, or does the baby belong to his brother? Or maybe the child is for someone else? It is time for us to find out.
Mr. Chris Hunt, you are not the father. Mr. Stephen Hunt, you are not the father.
This case is pure chaos, baby drama, shattered windows, and Instagram receipts. Ms. Matthews is here to prove that Mr. Moore is the father of her 3-year-old daughter, Zania. But Moore says she was seeing another man and waited 4 months before telling him she was pregnant. And to top it all off, he's suing her for $285 for smashing his car window in a jealous rage.
Ms. Matthews, you admit to having an extremely complicated relationship with the defendant, Mr. Moore. Now you say you're here today to prove that he is your 3-year-old daughter Zania's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Matthews admits she didn't tell Moore about the pregnancy at first. But she has a reason. She says doctors weren't sure if her baby would survive, so she kept quiet. But Moore isn't buying it, and he insists they always used protection. The judge looks at him skeptically.
Mr. Moore, now, how has the doubt about little Zania's paternity affected your connection to her?
Extremely. There's no contact. I made sure that it wasn't going to be any contact till I found out for certain that was my daughter.
All right.
For Neat, in the beginning, we were cool. When I met her, she was a party girl, all the way up to date.
Then comes the Instagram bombshell. Moore pulls out a picture of Matthews kissing another man during the same time she claimed they were together. The courtroom gasps as he reveals he found it on her own social media page. Matthews tries to explain, but the damage is done.
No, but...
And how did you find this photo?
That actually came from her social network that she used to have, her Instagram.
Why did I post the picture? Because what picture did you post that made me do that on Throwback Thursday, Your Honor?
Jerome, let me see that.
Man.
What picture did you post? And the reason I did bust the window out is because I was calling his phone about this picture.
Matthews claps back, saying Moore started the mess first. She claims he posted a pic with another woman first, so she did her own Throwback Thursday out of revenge. The judge sighs, clearly exhausted by the pettiness. This case is turning into a social media war.
It was a picture she posted,
Yeah.
which then fueled your doubts that you might not be the child's father because she also had a picture kissing somebody else.
Your
Absolutely.
Honor, when I put the picture on Instagram, he came to my job, bust a window. He had to get escorted by Cleveland police.
And then, the brick incident. Matthews casually confesses that she was so mad she went to Moore's house, found a brick, and smashed his window. The courtroom erupts in shock as she admits it without a trace of regret. The judge's patience is wearing thin.
Ms. Matthews, is this the window you
Yes,
busted
I
out?
busted it out. I should have got the site too.
You know what? Fanice got an excuse for everything.
I will admit my wrongs, but you're wrong. Rumors.
So you don't party?
What about the rumors? Of course I go party, but what about the rumors you paying for sex with women?
Moore is done playing games. He pulls out proof. He hands over photo evidence of his shattered car window, proving she did exactly what she said. The judge is not amused. Matthews shrugs like it's no big deal.
Please stand.
Hi, Your Honor.
Hello, step up to the podium. Your name is?
Miss Thomas.
Miss Thomas. Why do you have doubts that your uncle is the father of Miss Matthews' child?
Because Miss Matthews, she gets around. The whole hood knows her. It's nothing new.
And just when it couldn't get worse, Moore's niece enters the courtroom. She claims Matthews is known in the neighborhood for telling multiple men they might be her baby's father. Matthews is fuming, but the audience is eating this up. The judge looks like she's about to walk out.
The day after prom, I seen her with some dude that looks exactly like my uncle. And I seen her previous times in the neighborhood with this dude that looks exactly like my uncle. So I called my uncle up and I'm like, Mrs. Matthews is here with some dude that looks just like you that I told you last time I seen her with.
Then, another jaw-dropping claim. The niece says little Zanaya calls 3 different men. Daddy! Matthews jumps up, furious, insisting that Zanaya only calls her grandfather Papa. The drama just keeps getting deeper.
No, my daughter did not call anybody else daddy.
Does she call Mr. Moore daddy?
Him daddy, no.
Yeah.
He
You know
don't
what?
be
like
around.
I told you in the beginning, Honor, he's told me about guys going in and out of the driveway, standing in the driveway. It's times that I done woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because she had to go drive over to Fanique's house to pick Zanaya up off of the front porch.
Moore admits that Zania does look like him, but doubts are still eating at him. He's been hearing rumors for too long, and he needs solid proof before he lets himself get attached. The judge warns them both to stop the pettiness because Zania is the real victim here.
Mr. Moore, you didn't sign the birth certificate because you weren't
signing the
sure.
birth certificate.
Because you weren't sure.
Yeah.
He didn't even get the chance to see the birth certificate. He didn't even come up to the hospital, Your Honor.
I did come to the hospital. She's lying, Your Honor. I came up to the hospital. I didn't stay long, because I had already started hearing those rumors.
If he did, I didn't see him.
Moore is clear. He's here for one reason. The truth. If Zania is his daughter, he's ready to step up, but if not, he's out for good. The tension in the courtroom is at an all-time high as the results get closer.
I mean, truthfully,
No.
is there any reason?
No, I go to work 7 days a week. I don't have no break. I gotta pay for a babysitter every time I go to work. I don't never have no me time. And for them to be saying all that, my daughter be dirty, all that, that's impossible. Cause I walk around with knees and rags on my
Your
body
Honor.
before my daughter look a mess.
Your Honor.
And now, the moment of truth. The judge opens the envelope slowly, letting the tension build. Matthews looks nervous, Moore looks confident, and the audience leans in, waiting for the verdict.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. I'm done.
Ms. Davis is on a mission to prove that Mr. Gilbert is the father of her 7-month-old son, Corey. But Gilbert isn't convinced. He swears his meddling family planted doubts in his head, and just when you think this is a regular paternity case, his loud-mouthed sister crashes in, throwing some serious shade. The case begins like this.
Ms. Davis, you say that you are convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt Mr. Gilbert is your son, Corey's father. Mr. Gilbert, you admit you once believed you were Corey's father, but began to have doubts once your family heard rumors that her son was fathered by another man.
Ms. Davis says this ain't no random pregnancy. This baby was planned. She claims Gilbert was begging for a baby, and now he's acting like like he was tricked into it. Gilbert stutters. He can't deny the truth. But then he says something that has the judge rolling her eyes. He doesn't trust her fast friends.
You were in a relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the relationship.
We met in my old neighborhood. It was like love at first sight. We was friends first when we was in love. I didn't want to get pregnant, but he wanted a child.
The courtroom erupts when Ms. Davis drops the bombshell. She met Gilbert's whole family. They were cool with her, she says, until she got pregnant. That's when they turned against her. Like she was a villain in a soap opera. His sister jumps in, snapping her fingers. She swears she has proof that Davis was pregnant before she even met Gilbert.
So I don't understand how this beautiful relationship went wrong to the point where now this 7-month-old baby's paternity.
When he met me. He knew that I was friends with them when he met me. He been knew about them.
How long were you together before you got pregnant?
4 months.
4 months? Y'all acting like y'all was together for 4 years. 4 months!
And then Gilbert's sister brings out the big guns. Threesomes. Yes, you read that right. She swears Davis was getting busy with multiple men before she got with Gilbert. The audience collectively gasps. Davis explodes. She says this is straight up slander, and she demands proof. Gilbert sits back, eyes darting. He is not ready for this chaos.
Get the pregnancy test for me. He told me I was pregnant before I knew.
You remember this day, Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, ma'am.
And you go get the pregnancy test.
Yes, ma'am.
You take the test and what happens?
It came up positive.
And you found out you're pregnant?
Yes, ma'am.
At that moment, did he express any doubt?
No.
The room is on fire, and then Gilbert's emotions hit hard. He breaks down, sobbing like a scene from a dramatic movie. The judge pulls up a picture of him kissing Davis's pregnant belly, and he loses it. The courtroom softens for a second, until his sister ruins the moment with another messy comment.
That she was pregnant before she started messing with my brother. And my brother, if he could have kids, he'd have 6 of them. He hasn't have any. And that's why we're in denial, because my brother, he's sick and he haven't conceived any kids.
Gilbert finally speaks up. He was there the whole pregnancy. He took her to the doctor, bought the pregnancy test, and did everything a supportive dad should do. The judge leans in. So why are you doubting her now? Gilbert gulps. He turns his head toward his sister, looking really guilty.
Every girl wants my baby. Every girl.
No babies. Your Honor.
Every girl wants your baby?
Not every girl, but the ones I've been
I guess he was trying to get other women pregnant, but it never happened, but I was the one that it happened to.
And then the sister drops another bomb. Corey doesn't look like Gilbert. Davis is ready. She pulls out photo evidence of baby Corey side by side with Gilbert as a child. The audience leans forward. The judge raises an eyebrow. The resemblance is undeniable. Gilbert starts blinking real fast. He knows that baby looks like him.
Her thing was, let me
don't know
attach myself to him via this baby. She did it, then your family sees the baby and tells you this is not your child.
Just when we think it can't get crazier, boom! Gilbert's sister accuses Ms. Davis of being pregnant again by another man. The room explodes. Davis looks like she just got hit with a WWE finishing move. She calls it a straight-up lie, but Gilbert looks shaken. Is this real?
I don't know what you was doing. I don't know what
you want.
So now you even doubt.
I playing my child.
Me, though. You playing the child with me. You felt that way. Why you was with me for? Why you was with me for? But you still can't mess with me.
The judge is over it. Ms. Davis, are you pregnant or not? Davis swears if she was, it would be Gilbert's. The sister keeps yapping about how she heard things, but the judge isn't buying it. The drama is too much. The audience is loving it.
Describe to the court what this shows.
How they look just alike.
So this is a picture of Corey.
Baby Corey.
Baby Corey.
And his dad.
And you say his dad on the other.
As a child.
Yeah, it was me as a baby.
And you say you see the resemblance?
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert finally speaks. He and Davis have been trying for another baby. The judge is done. She gives them a life lesson. Babies aren't cupcakes. You don't just bake another batch for fun. The audience bursts out laughing, but the message is clear. You all need to get it together.
And didn't she try to get a DNA test on one of her?
Yes.
So, Ms. Davis, how has his relationship changed with baby Corey since all of this doubt came into the picture?
He still be there for him.
He's still there?
Take care of him. He be there for him.
But you know he has the doubt, and you say it's because of his family.
Yeah.
It's time for the truth. Paternity test results are in. The courtroom falls dead silent. Davis wipes her sweaty palms, Gilbert stares at the envelope, and his sister crosses her arms like she already knows the answer. The judge slowly opens the letter. This is the moment.
But listen, you also have to understand that, like she said, he's already on the birth certificate, so under the law, he is the legal father. The fact is this, for her to come into this courtroom and stand here and say, I want to bring this case because I want to prove that Mr. Gilbert is my child's biological father.
Ugh. Here we go again. These two women just can't be in the same place without wanting to rip out their throats. Oh well, since nobody wants to own up to the child, let's bring in the results. Let's see if Mr. Gilbert is the father after all.
Mr. Gilbert, you are the father.
In this case, the plaintiff, Mr. Calhoun, claimed that his girlfriend, Ms. Prout, tricked him into believing he was the father of her child. After finding evidence that she had been sleeping with other men, he claimed that the DNA results would show that he was not the father.
Mr. Calhoun, you say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It seems that Mr. Calhoun was not ready to have a romantic relationship with the defendant. Even after he made it clear he did not want a relationship, they continued to kick it in bed, and after some time, Ms. Prout found out she was pregnant.
Ms. Prout, you still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you were pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Me and a family member of his, we went to the store, I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test, it was positive, the lines were fainted.
Wow. Mr. Calhoun really didn't want anything serious with Ms. Prout. Blocking her on all social media is just very extreme. Mr. Calhoun told the judge that he believed she had taken fertility pills to get pregnant just because she wanted to be with him.
She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
That's a bunch of bull.
Oh, did you say that, Ms. Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills once I found out I was pregnant.
I mean, they were not using protection while kicking it in bed, so why doesn't she believe she is pregnant? Now Ms. Prout had her calendar, showing the window of conception, which placed Mr. Calhoun as the father of the baby. When asked if he agreed with the dates, he said this.
When you look at that window of conception, Mr. Calhoun, do you have any issue
Yes, ma'am.
with the dates?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe you were intimate on
there's
July
no issue with the dates, but I'm saying I feel like I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those days.
Now, it all makes sense. Mr. Calhoun was not the only man she was sleeping with at the time. Funny enough, Ms. Prout did not deny messing with another man. She claimed that she did sleep with someone else, but cut ties with the person before the window of conception.
Yes, I was having sex with someone, but this was way before these 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks prior I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the parties. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support, period, points.
Now, why would she lie about the hospital not being able to perform a DNA test? What could she possibly be hiding? Mr. Calhoun told the judge that even though he had signed the birth certificate, he still had doubts about the paternity.
My doubts come from, I'm walking to the store. I get to the store, I run into 2 neighborhood partners that I knew growing up, and they like, you got a baby by Miss Prout? And I'm like, yeah, supposedly. She says her little girl is mine. And they tell me, that's crazy because she said she had a baby by me before, and when
Oh boy, that has to sting. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes after hearing something like that. Now, here is the crazy thing. He was not just talking. He had evidence to prove that what he was saying was true.
From Mr. Calhoun, why are you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout, you a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
After saying and posting that conversation on Facebook, I don't believe a word coming out of her mouth. Now, there was a witness in the courtroom, and she happened to be Ms. Prout's godsister.
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant because of her demeanor.
Wow. Now that has to be one hell of a revelation. Anyway, there is only one way to find out the truth, and that is to reveal the DNA test. Without wasting any time, the judge revealed the results, and this was her verdict.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father. Woo!